You wake up on a bus. No money, no weapon, no plan. Just a body being dropped back into a city that already buried you once. The streets smell the same. The hunger feels the same. And the moment your feet hit the pavement, a cop car rolls up and 2 officers get out. Not to welcome you home, not to offer you protection, but to shake you down, plant drugs on you. And make sure you understand one thing from the very beginning. You do not matter here. Your mother is dead. Your brother doesn't respect you. Your friends are ghosts walking around in living bodies. And the city has already decided what you are. This is not a comeback story. This is not a redemption arc. This is the life of Carl Johnson. And once you understand what that actually means, you will never look at him the same way again. Let's go back. Not to the beginning of the game, to the beginning of him. Carl Johnson grew up in Grove Street, Los Santos. And before you picture that as some kind of gritty origin story with meaning and dignity, stop. Because Grove Street is not a place that builds people. It is a place that consumes them. He grew up watching his neighborhood eat itself alive. Gangs on every corner. Drugs moving through the streets like weather. Young men dying before they were old enough to know what they were dying for. And his family, the people who were supposed to be his foundation, were fracturing under the weight of all of it. His mother, Beverly Johnson, the one person holding things together, the one person who saw Carl as something other than a soldier or a casualty. She saw him, and that is exactly why losing her would become the wound that never closes. Here is something the game shows you but never makes you feel properly. Carl left. He ran. When things got too heavy in Los Santos, he disappeared to Liberty City and left his family behind. 5 years. 5 years of absence. And while he was gone, his little brother Brian died. His gang fell apart. His neighborhood collapsed. His mother kept living in that house on Grove Street alone, surrounded by everything that was trying to kill her family. And then someone killed her too. So when Carl steps off that bus at the start of the game, understand what you are actually looking at. You are looking at a man carrying 5 years of guilt he has never spoken out loud. A man who abandoned the people he loved and came back to find the bill waiting for him. The city did not forget him. But more importantly, he never forgave himself. And that guilt, that is the engine that drives everything that follows. Every mission, every sacrifice, every compromise, every moment where Carl does something terrible and tells himself it is necessary. It all starts with that guilt. Now here is where Carl Johnson's life stops being tragic and starts being cursed. Because just when he comes home to grieve, to heal, to maybe rebuild something, the system grabs him. Not metaphorically, literally. Officers Tenpenny and Pulaski, 2 corrupt cops who have been running Los Santos like a private criminal empire for years. They pull Carl over the moment he arrives. They plant evidence. They make it clear that Carl belongs to them now. That he will do what they say when they say it, or they will put him in a cage for murders he did not commit. Think about what that means. Carl came home to bury his mother, and within hours, he has been conscripted. He has been turned into a tool by the very people who are supposed to represent law and order. He has no legal recourse. He has no allies in power. He has nothing. So he works. He runs missions for Tenpenny. He fights for his gang. He tries to hold Grove Street together while simultaneously being used by corrupt authority to tear other things apart. But it gets worse. Because the city is not just one trap. It is a trap inside a trap inside a trap. To survive Tenpenny, Carl needs power. To get power, he needs allies. To get allies, he needs to go deeper into the criminal world, into Las Ventura's gambling empires, into drug operations, into relationships with men who use people the same way Tenpenny does. He tells himself he is doing it to protect his family. He tells himself it is temporary. It is never temporary. Every time Carl gains something, territory, money, respect, something else is taken. Every time he solves one problem, 3 more appear. The game never lets him breathe. The game never lets him stop. And here is the part nobody talks about enough. Carl does not get to choose his missions. He does not get to say, this one goes too far. He does not get to walk away. The city hands him a problem, and he solves it, and another problem appears immediately after. There is no moment in Carl Johnson's story where someone says, "Carl, you have done enough. Rest." He is not a man living his life. He is a man being processed by his life. Let's talk about Big Smoke, because this is the betrayal that should have broken Carl Johnson. And the fact that it did not, the fact that he kept moving, might actually be the saddest thing about him. Big Smoke was family. Not blood, but real. A childhood friend. A Grove Street OG. Someone Carl trusted completely. And Big Smoke sold them all out. He made a deal with the Ballas. He let their rival gang flood Grove Street with drugs. He let his own neighborhood destroy itself from the inside. He watched Beverly Johnson die, because the chaos he helped create was the chaos that got her killed. And he smiled. He ate. He got fat on the profits of everyone else's suffering. When Carl finds out the truth, think about what that discovery actually contains. It is not just betrayal. It is a retroactive rewriting of his entire past. Every memory of Big Smoke is now contaminated. Every laugh, every mission, every moment of loyalty. All of it was a lie that Carl was too trusting to see. And Ryder, same story, same betrayal. Another man Carl called brother. Carl Johnson does not just lose people to death, he loses people to who they chose to be. And that is a different kind of grief. Because you cannot mourn a man who is still alive and has decided you are nothing to him. Then there is Sweet, his actual brother, the one who stays loyal. But Sweet's loyalty comes with its own poison, because Sweet is rigid. Sweet is tunnel vision. Sweet cannot see past Grove Street, cannot see past the gang, cannot see that the world is bigger and more complicated than the block they grew up on. And Carl spends the entire game trying to hold on to Sweet's approval, trying to be the little brother who came back right, while simultaneously becoming someone Sweet would never recognize. The violence, the manipulation, the moral compromises, the things Carl does in Las Venturas, the people he works with, the damage he causes, the parts of himself he burns away to stay alive. Sweet never sees any of that, and Carl never explains it. Because how do you explain to the person you love most that you had to become a monster to save them? You do not. You just carry it. Carl Johnson wins. Let's be honest about that. He takes down Tenpenny. He exposes the corruption. Big Smoke falls. Grove Street stands. By every metric the game gives you, Carl Johnson survives and comes out on top. But let's look at what winning actually looks like. His mother is still dead. Nothing changes that. Ryder is dead. Big Smoke is dead. The friends he could not save are still gone. The years he lost, the years of running, of guilt, of being someone else's weapon, he does not get those back. The parts of himself he sacrificed to get here do not return. And Grove Street is still Grove Street. Still poor, still dangerous. Still a place where young men die for corners of concrete that nobody outside the neighborhood will ever care about. Carl fought a war for this neighborhood, and the neighborhood is still losing the longer war, the one against poverty, against neglect, against a city that was designed to keep people like him exactly where they are. There is a moment at the end. Tenpenny's car crashes. He dies. The crowd cheers. And Carl Johnson stands there. Think about what he is standing inside. He is standing in the ruins of everything the story told him to protect. He has spent a year of his life being pulled in every direction by every person with power over him. He has killed. He has lied. He has watched people he loved choose to become his enemies. He has done things he cannot undo. And now, it is over. And he is still in Los Santos, still on these streets, still Carl Johnson from Grove Street. The city did not change. Only Carl changed. And not necessarily for the better. Victory in San Andreas does not feel like freedom. It feels like exhaustion. Like surviving a storm and walking outside to find the same broken house waiting for you. He did not escape. He endured. And there is a profound difference between those two things. Carl Johnson is not a victim. Let me be clear about that. He is not weak. He is not passive. He fights every single day with everything he has. But fighting is not the same as living. And that is the real tragedy buried inside his story. Not the betrayals, not the corruption, not even the grief. It is this: Carl Johnson spent his entire life being needed by everyone around him and belonging to no one. His city needed him to be a soldier. His gang needed him to be a leader. Tenpenny needed him to be a weapon. His brother needed him to be a protector. His friends needed him to be whatever they needed him to be in the moment. And somewhere inside all of that needing, Carl himself got lost. He never got to just be. He never got to sit in a moment that was only his. He never got peace without a mission attached to it. You beat the game. You put down the controller. You move on. But Carl Johnson, he stays in Los Santos. He stays on those streets. He stays in that life. He doesn't get a credit screen. He just gets another day.